So thank you, actually, thanks a lot, Milan and Wolfgang, to have us here, and thanks to all of you to be patient for the last. So the good news is that we are just the last one before lunch. And the other good news is that, as Milan mentioned before, we were expecting about half an hour for our presentation, and actually we will keep in half an hour of our presentations. We try to let you go for lunch first. So we are going to talk about sustainability in action, and basically is how we try to apply design practices for our customers and clients so that they can be much faster on deploying action and their strategy for sustainability. And it's very important because we as Atoma, as a digital group, actually most of our customers are big industrial enterprises. So in fact, they will see a lot of drama here. When we talk about sustainability, they really get stuck in the drama part. So here we have a free example of what they recently keep asking and is growing more and more. And there are projects that on the description that looks pretty simple. So create a catalog for sustainable products to facilitate the informed choice. Basically choose a product that is actually a greener product rather than the old one. Or, well, this one it sounds already complex on doing it, but the brief is simple. So I'm a manufacturer of a plastic material that actually will be banned by the European Union. So help me to discover the main barrier and the opportunities for packaging on the industry. So you see, again, on the description, that looks simple. But then when we go on the reality, it's actually quite different. And this is why we will play, to try to explain how it works and maybe to give a bit the elements of the drama, we will play a bit role play. And I will take off my glasses, so like Clark Kent, I will become a super VP. Also because I will become a bit blinder, as you will see after. And Shruti.
See if I can be loud enough. And I'll be playing Mrs. Yes We Can, which I'll be representing our service design agency. This back and forth is going to happen a while.
So yeah, I'm not sure, but definitely I want to increase, actually to double my sales of green products by the end of the year. So we need to increase our sales on this product. That's why I need a catalog that represent all my sustainable products, so I can be much faster. So simple, right? I know which are the products, I just want to be faster. And of course, well, I'm rich, but I want the return very fast. So everything must be ready within 2 months. Thank you.
So, Mr. I'm not sure, I'm sure we can help you. It's something we do pretty often, but we kind of need to take a step back before we begin. What exactly to you constitutes a green product, and what products do you have currently in your portfolio that could go into this catalog?
Well, I don't know. I think there are many of our products are green, I'm sure, because we got already some data. So I think there is a list. I will need to find it, but it should be okay. It should be easy. And I think, I don't know which one exactly should go in, but yeah, I'm sure we have a list somewhere.
Okay, we'll go with the flow on that one. However, more importantly, of course, we still need to know who the exact target user for this is going to be, and what need are we trying to address with this, and what proof do we have right now that there is an existing need that we need to address?
Well, actually, we have a very different type of customers on our products. We go for business customers to consumer B2C customers. So it's a lot of customers. It's a different kind of customer. Many of them can be used. Yeah, so that's a point. And we just want so that they understand what are the products and how they can use it for reduce their footprint, CO2 footprint.
Okay, fair enough. We'll see along the project. But this is a question we've been asking ourselves internally, our team. Why is it a catalog? Have you discussed having any other type of format, a website, an application? How did we land on this?
Well, no, it doesn't have to be a catalog. We are happy to hear from you what it could be the best solution. Indeed, it's a good idea. Maybe it doesn't have to be a catalog.
Okay. So what we noticed on this kind of use case, and this was an actual project we embarked upon, is that there is this necessity for the client to react to the external and internal pressure that they were feeling when it comes to climate regulation, pressure from the board, investors, etc. And that had a trickle-down effect on the fact that the top-down sustainability plan wasn't being translated in an operational way to the people who were working out the details of the program. And of course, as you can imagine, there were a lot of differing opinions and perspectives on the project outcomes and objectives within the stakeholders. And what makes it tricky is that as a design agency, when we embark on a project like this, we have inherited a project with a lot of unclear missions in the beginning, but that can also have shifting perspectives, expectations, as well as timelines and deliveries for us as well. So how we tackled it on this project, and it's something that we've put in place since then, is kicking off with internal stakeholder interviews to align with the different actors in the ecosystem well before the project even begins. So this is people who are key decision makers, influencers, as well as, very importantly, people who are on the fence, those who don't know why they're there, but in some way could pose obstacles somewhere down the journey. And then this helps us find a common thread on the project focus and outcome before we begin actually working on design or the actual implementation of the idea.
So as you can imagine, this project, that if you remember, the brief was very simple. And actually it was on paper, just do some brand images, a brand activity around the green products to put them in a catalog. Actually didn't even become a campaign. So there was not even a catalog or not even a website at the end of this project, because we open a bit the eyes of our customers. And if you want, again, it goes very close to what we have seen before with your eyes. So we actually put on the paper the drama to say, guys, let's fix that before you go to anything else. Because otherwise you're just going to waste money and time, and you will definitely not have the return that you're looking for. So this were, for us, it was much more valuable, because one element that I think you have to keep, and I think it was mentioned by Elaine before in what he has been doing in the Wikimedia enterprises, this actually gave us a lot of trust from the customers. Because at a certain point, they understood, well, we opened their eyes. We give them back the glasses to see what it was the situation. And from this, actually, was a way where we started to build much more projects with much more results. And I think this is very important to keep in mind. Sometimes you have to push to put on the table what is the reality so that they can actually react properly.
So we hope you liked that little use case, because we're going to do it again. So this time we're just going to take you through another similar use case of another project that we had an experience on, and also highlight some issues that we faced as well as how we dealt with them. So in this case, again, Andrea is playing.
Yeah, I'm right. So another super vice president for another energy management multinational company. So once again, I'm rich and a bit blind on what I could do.
And I'll keep my role of the service representative of a service design agency.
So, of course, I read a lot about this successful platform, many-to-many, like Airbnb, Uber. So I want to leverage that transformation for my industry. So I would like that we develop with you a model where this platform, and I can deliver my sustainability programs for energy efficiency and all of these directly on this platform. So I want an MVP roadmap so that I can close it very soon. Of course, I have no problem with budget, but I do have a time problem. So I want everything ready within 4 months from this part. And ideally, I also want a good branding campaign so that I can deliver that fast.
Okay, that's a lot. But based on what you asked, we did actually speak to the energy management experts. We conducted dedicated focus groups with them across the world. And one thing that we noticed is that they're actually not looking for a platform for decarbonization projects, because currently they're just battling to navigate the space of sustainability, because it's such a vast and nebulous space for them, they actually don't know how they stand in it. And they're looking at you as a big company, as a leader in the space, to guide them through that so they can guide their clients. So the last part about the recognition program actually is, while it's a great idea, it's probably way too early for them. It's too obscure, it's too abstract, and there might be a lot of other pieces to deal with before we get there.
Nah, that's the problem is their problem. It's not my problem. It's my customer that don't understand the problem. So I think we'll just be a campaign, a big communication campaign, and we'll fix it. So don't worry about that part. I think we can manage. And actually, I realize that we have 2 teams internally already working on the program. So I'm sorry, but okay. But actually, maybe it could be good that you help us to understand if we made the right choices on these programs, because yeah, we're done already. So. Oh yes, of course. But I want to be sure we launch everything in 4 months, because I have pressure for my boss and from my shareholders that I will deliver a great amount of sales from this platform.
So if we redo the exercise we did in the first use case, again, we see a similar line of issues. One, there is, again, the problem of feeling the need to deliver your project in line with a sustainability roadmap that has already been set a while ago. There seems to be very little wiggle room in that aspect. Also with the example of them almost doubling efforts, so causing redundancy just to ensure that they hit that outcome and that timeline. Vast assumptions were made on the user benefit, and actually if that was even the right target, and that's what they were looking for. And finally, the fact that an investment had already been made, a monetary investment, it was really hard for them to pivot at that point. So they were trying as fast as possible, as hard as possible, to validate an existing hypothesis through the project. So either through us, through their work internally, or maybe another way that we don't even know about. And so in this project, what we start to put into place, which we've also, again, institutionalized around the projects, is starting with a very strict and robust service design brief, where not only do we collect all the information regarding the scope of the project, but also all list of current and past activities that they've tried, as if whether they failed or not, but just so that we can understand how we can rebound off existing efforts as opposed to causing any redundancy. As well as using user research as a good lever to test early hypotheses of value proposition, as opposed to it just being there to explore unmet user needs, which is obviously also very, very important, but this is something that we start to put in place early on, so you can fail fast and build up from there.
So again, also in this case, and I put back the glasses so that I can see what was the light and the solution. We started from a brief that it was a big project for us and very, very clear apparently, to something very different, and where we have to work a lot through the conflict that were inside the company. And actually then they changed the strategy to go from something that it was, okay, we have invested in this tool millions, how can we maximize the profit as quick as possible, to, okay, we still invested millions, but rather than keep going blind on the same direction, now we do a test in a smaller set of countries with a smaller volumes, but we prove what is really valuable in what is inside this platform.
So you might be asking yourselves why we ended up showing you 2 projects where we didn't necessarily deliver what was asked of us. So we didn't deliver a catalog. We didn't make this famous decarbonisation platform as it was expected. And the reason was something that Andrea touched upon earlier in the conversation. Our intervention to help them take a step back, look at the whole picture, reassess where they were, and think about whether they really needed to go ahead and invest more money, actually helped us develop a relationship with them of being a partner and almost an equal, as opposed to being an external agency who comes in, who just executes a plan and walks out. So we're really proud in some way of the work that we did, because that just informs and promises more work and more sustainable work in both senses with these particular clients. So if I had to sum up some of our main observations through the 2 examples you saw, but also the other projects we've done, of course there's this heavy climate action mounting pressure that's on the back of everyone. which is leading to unclear directives for the different stakeholders who are either fully involved or in the periphery watching in. And unfortunately, all this sort of has a knock-on effect on the trade-off that we're observing between people and planet. So what we mean here is there are sustainability solutions and plans that are being made and constructed by companies, all in the best interest at heart, but they're not in line with the current behaviors or current expectations of their end user. And that's where you're not seeing an overlap or a match. And sometimes decisions are made which can be contradictory to one or the other. And so how we're trying to approach this is, once again, by positioning ourselves as collaborators and orchestrators, not as executors who come in and work on siloed portions. We're also pitching our services for a suite of sustainability projects within different verticals and business units of the companies that we famously work for. That way we have more of an ecosystemic or holistic approach and view to connect different parts of the project and help earlier on in the sustainability strategy as opposed to in the end. Of course, I've spoken a lot about the power of research, but what's also important for us is a lot of us are service designers, UI, UX designers. It's important for us to understand, to build up competency to an extent. We're not going to speak their language as well as they do, but to find lines of communication between what we do and how is that valuable for you as an industry expert. And lastly, in the cases if design needs a little bit of reinforcement to be pushed further on, we have the ability to tap into our larger network at Assist Digital, where we have complementary services like AI, machine learning, customer management operations, and that's when we take a project as a whole, depending on what the need is, and tackle it as a group.
So, well, maybe a question from you, what is sustainability in action, after that you've been talking through all of this? So for us, it's a set of service offerings. And I'm reading it because I think it's important. But to make a deployment of speed and adoption of sustainability action radically collaborative. Now that's good. It's the effort of wind and fresh calling coming in, so that's good. So collaborative, because as you have seen, or what we are seeing with our customers, in many cases, they tend to be big enterprises, as I said. They dominate the market, they know how to do their stuff, they know how to design their products. But when it's about sustainability, it's not enough. They need to work with their customers, with their partners, because most probably the changes that they will bring will have a much bigger impact. And this is where we teach them to work and to be a partners in this transformation. It has to be efficient. Frankly, we don't have time. These companies, they have mandatory requirements by the European Union, but by next year, they have to deliver. So they have a lot of money, but they are panicking. And the example that we have been showing today was exactly the situation. The big boss is sending a dictate, he has set already the threshold, he has set the KPIs, but no one knows how to measure the KPIs. So there is extreme confusion, and this is exactly why this set of services can really enable the solution. And then I think that frankly they are forgotten a lot of time. It has to be human, because in the end it will still be the employees, the customers, your partners that will actually deliver these benefits. If you don't give them the means, if you don't create an empathy about the transformation that you're doing, it will not work. And that is our definition of this sustainability in action. So for that, we created this framework where, of course, there is a part that is close on the understand, and it's very important that we do the activate part, so where we plan, deploy, and track. This is where we add on top of all design practices, also a lot of practices like software development, digital tracking, data analytics, and all that part. But where we want to focus today is more on this part, on the strategize. When we talk about sustainability, and in particular for the green part of sustainability, nothing is a given. So resiliency, the capability to accept risk, is a must-do. You have to be flexible. You have to be things where you work with others. You work in a different way. You can readjust very quickly because results are not coming, and you need to have results very quickly. You need to engage partners, as been saying multiple times. If you are doing a new product and you need a new set of plastic that are recycled plastics, you are not making that plastic. So you need to work who does that plastics. And if you don't have anybody that is going to send you back the box and to activate a circular economy, it doesn't work. So you have to work also with the partners that are around your own business. And last, but I think is actually the most common situation that we have seen, all the transformation that we have seen until now, they're working very well for a small pilots, but this crash when you are a big multinational enterprises. So this was a perfect project. We do a test of circular economy on that product in one country, worked perfectly. As soon as they try to expand this one, all the elements that did not work, the lack of thinking about the full ecosystem, the lack of thinking on the impact on the manufacturing cycle, clash immediately. And then they've been just wasting money. A lot of money for many pilots that did not have any consequence. So building something from the beginning that has a system view, that has a design thinking approach, is fundamental so that you can build something that is actually scalable. So, and as promised, we did in 20 minutes.
I hope.
If you have any question.
Thank you so much for sharing your stories and for the role play. Excellent. What does this make you think? Guys, any feedbacks, questions, comments?
I think the reenactment of this conflict is amazing because it allows us as an audience to reflect on what you're actually going through. And when we reflect on what you're actually going through, I think there's a lot more input. I'm sure that everyone, I wrote tons of notes, I'll share with you later, about how we could have done it differently at that particular point, or what would we have done in a different situation. So I think just imagining it and kind of putting it on stage allows us to kind of decipher the operations much, much better. So it's amazing. Psychodrama is a really valuable tool in this sense.
Just, well, first of all, congratulations. I like the reenactment very much. The end comment about it has to be human was a little bit too quick for me, because that is easier said than done. So can you give a bit more information how you do make it human?
Yeah, sure. So part of what we meant by putting human, so we've heard about human-centered design a lot, and we've been now for decades focusing on human in the center. That's not what we wanted to say here, and maybe that's also not too clear in the slide. It sounds like we're going back there. We are looking at life-centered design and nature-centered design, of course, but we can't forget the fact that the human is, on the one side, can be the biggest obstacle or barrier to themselves and to the progress towards having something that's good for everyone, society and the environment, but also the fact that when things work, they are great enablers for change. So the fact about the human factor was also humans are irrational in nature, where we're the ones pushing the friction most of the time. So how is it that we are empowering them to believe in this cause and have them be the drivers of change in order for all that other stuff to happen, the adapt, the engage, scale, all of that. And so the human. But thank you for the feedback. It's something that we will think about.
Well, I'll give you a bit of insight. So I'm an engineer, and I'm quite far away from design, but now I'm working with the team and with the design. And where I realize there is a big difference is actually when we approach any kind of this project, we spend a lot of time on listening. And most of the time, the people that are running this research are not engineers at all. So they take a very technical problem and they listen to the guy that is actually working on this problem to understand what is his problem as a person, not as an engineer. And I think it's a little bit the recipe. So honestly, it's a lot on the competencies that you have to develop in the team and the education to be, well, I'll give you another example. In some of these projects, one of the first things that we have, not in some, in many, the first reaction is, why your people are asking this question? They don't know what they're talking about. Our engineers are surprised. And all the time we have to explain, it's a must-do. If we don't go through this process, where we take them out of their classical box, very organized, very structured with the right numbers, you will not see the solution because you remain stuck on that box. So I think that's why we say it's important that it remain human, that you invest time to listen to the people that will actually do the job and not just impose a direction or a solution.